It's a final. Indiana has defeated Miami 27-21. They are 16-0 undefeated national champions. In fact, the Big Ten now has won the last 3 national championships. Let's talk about it. Post-game national championship reaction. Locked On Big Ten Live starts right now.
You are Locked On Big Ten, your daily podcast on the Big Ten Conference. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Thanks for joining us here on Locked On Big Ten Live. And, of course, I'm Craig Shemon. If you join us every day, you know we're here each and every day, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, now the #1 sports podcast network out there. Thanks for making us your first listen each and every day. We are free and available wherever you get your podcast on a YouTube, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. While you're here, if you are new, if you're just discovering us, hit that free subscribe button. We'll always be free and for you here every single day. If you could also share, follow, and like, and also hype the YouTube videos, that would be fantastic as well. This episode is brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use the code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off of your first purchase. So Miami versus Indiana, we will break it down from start to finish. We'll get your live comments after my live commentary and reaction as well. We'll put those on the air, and we'll talk about what's next for Indiana Big Ten and this podcast as well. First of all, we were a little later in getting on. I want to watch the whole presentation of the trophy. Usually we jump right on almost as soon as the game is over when we do this live podcast. Those of you that are everydayers know, even though I cover the Big Ten, I cover every team equally. I am an Indiana grad, hence the hat. This is a big deal. I never in my life thought I would see the Indiana Hoosier football team win a national championship. So I'm soaking it in tonight with you guys. So hit me up in the comments, and let's talk about this game. It all started out down there in Miami. By the way, the most expensive ticket in the history of the college football national championship. Average ticket price was $4,200. Walk-in price was $4,000. They went up to like 10, 12 grand. It was crazy. But it was full, and Indiana fans showed up. I think it was about a 60-40 split in Miami's own home stadium. That was remarkable. Indiana wins the toss. They defer. So that means they get the ball first in the second half. So Miami gets it first. And as an Indiana fan or a Big Ten podcaster, I thought the #1 concern for the Hoosiers in this game was Miami running back Mark Fletcher. Mark Fletcher, he's just such a powerful runner, great lower body, always gets yards after contact. And Indiana did a great job bottling him up in the first half, but then he broke loose for that big 57-yard touchdown in the second half as well. He got the first touch of the game, got 9 yards right away. And then the other, probably the most dangerous weapon, versatile weapon for Miami, Mikail Kamara. He got the ball on the second play for the first down. So right off the get-go, the game plan, Shannon Dawson, the offensive coordinator, get the 2 big weapons the ball, Mark Fletcher and Mikail Kamara. Now, eventually, there was 3rd and 8, and a pass completion was short, so Indiana bends just a little, doesn't break, quick punt for Miami. A lot of 3-and-outs for the Hurricanes in the first half, a lot of punting, actually on both sides in the first half. So Indiana takes over its first drive down at the 5-yard line. So what are we going to see Mike Shanahan do, the offensive coordinator, with the Heisman Trophy winner, Fernando Mendoza? Well, and by the way, Mendoza comes into this game tonight with 8 touchdown passes and 5 incompletions in the 2 playoff games. Think about that. Again, more touchdowns than incompletions, 8 and 5 the last 2 games. But he's going against a pretty formidable Miami defense tonight. First pass out of the end zone to Omar Cooper for a first down. A lot of Roman Hemby running, the transfer from Maryland, up the middle. He was running in between the tackles. He was smashing his head all day. Just it didn't seem like it was breaking there. Miami's interior did a pretty good job throughout the day. So a Hemby run, a Hemby catch for short yardage, a 3rd and 8. Mendoza has to unload. Mendoza was under pressure early, had to throw an incomplete pass, and Indiana punts. So we're punting. We're feeling each other out. Miami, they got a holding penalty on the punt return. By the way, they're the 5th most penalized team in America. And they had some times today where they let Indiana stay on the field today on 3rd down. And they cost themselves with some untimely penalties as well. By the way, ironically, Indiana, one of the fewest penalized teams, jumped late in the game with I think it was their left tackle. And it gave, instead of Indiana allowed to get a short first down and burn out the clock, it left enough time on the clock for Miami to get the ball back at the end. But we'll get to that later on. So anyway, Miami's got a punt again, a second time. Now Indiana, fair catch at 29. They got better field position than they had their first possession. But they had a holding penalty, again, a rare penalty for the Hoosiers, the first one of the game when Mendoza was under pressure. Then Mendoza found Omar Cooper. It was a RPO play, beautiful play for 25 yards down to the 43-yard line. Then they had a false start. 2 penalties right from the get-go early on from Indiana. Again, 5th fewest penalties in America this year. They've already got 2 right at the beginning of the game. Then Mendoza started getting things going a little bit. Found Elijah Surratt for first down on 10 yards. For 10 yards, Mendoza found Riley Nowakowski for 9 yards and a first down to the Miami 33. Then Mendoza got smoked from the blind side. He got crushed a few times in this game. One time was a blatant helmet to the chin, bloodied lip, no penalty. The referees, I get it. Let them play. It's physical. It's a national championship. Let them decide it on the field. Don't get involved as an official. They let too much slide tonight with missed pass interferences and shots to Mendoza. I thought they did they erred on the side of caution too much. They did a poor job tonight, I thought, in my opinion, with those officials. Nevertheless, Indiana now finds itself on a 3rd and 5. Kaylon Black gets 7 yards for a first down into the red zone, into the 20. That's when Mendoza took the cheap shot to the chin, Jacoby Thomas. So 3rd and 6, an incomplete pass to Charlie Becker in the end zone. By the way, Charlie Becker, the back shoulder throw twice today. It was the same play, you'll remember, in the Big Ten championship game against Ohio State, in which they needed another first down, needed to make a catch and run out the clock. They ran it successfully twice against Miami tonight. That was the same game-winning play that they had against Ohio State. But Nico Radicich has come out for a field goal. Indiana settles for a 34-yard field goal and takes a 3-0 lead. We're about 2.5 minutes to go in the first quarter. 3 punts and a field goal thus far from both sides. That was a 12-play drive for Indiana that took up 6 minutes. Now, Miami gets the ball. Now they try to get their passing game going because they've been sitting there dedicated to the run. Both sides have been actually at this point. So Carson Beck starts to throw. Incomplete. Ball was actually tipped 2 times. Carson Beck back to throw. D'Angelo Pons, pass deflection. Textbook. 3rd and 10. Sack. Aiden Fisher. So 3 and out. So Miami has had no success at this point. It's their 3rd time they punted. 3 and out every time. They're not getting any plays. They're not getting anything going. Indiana's defense started this game in a phenomenal way here tonight. So Indiana gets the ball. Roman Hemby and in the middle, nothing. 2nd and 16 because he lost yards on the previous play, only gets a yard. Then there was the screen play to Hemby. Boom, Indiana 3 and out. We wind out the first quarter. Go to the second quarter, Indiana punts, and Miami didn't do anything passing-wise that last series, so they go back to the running game. Jamar Brown, 1 yard. C.J. Daniels, 7-yard catch and gain. 3rd and 2. Jamar Brown stuffed by Mikail Kamara, who had a wonderful game tonight, defensive player of the game. Stuffed a quick run along with Aiden Fisher, and now Miami has to punt again. So 3 straight 3 and outs for the Hurricanes at this point. Indiana gets the ball back. Now we're rolling into the second quarter. Mendoza finds Elijah Surratt for a first down for 12 yards. Then to Riley Nowakowski, the tight end, for 8 yards. Then Kaylon Black, 1 yard on a 3rd and 1. There's the 3rd and 6. Later in the drive, they throw an incomplete pass. I thought Frederick mugged Surratt all night long. Very handsy. The officials hardly call anything. They did call a pass interference here because it was so blatant. Even the officials couldn't ignore it. So now, instead of Indiana being stopped and Miami's defense getting off the field, Indiana is able to stay on the field and keep a drive going. So first down at midfield. But then they find themselves on the 3rd and 13. They get 5 yards there. And then later on, that's where Kalen Block actually busted open a 21-yard run for the first down. The linebackers were playing in too tight, and they were able to get the first down there. And then Mendoza throws it to Charlie Becker, and it looks like he got into the end zone for 13 yards, but then we realize he stepped out at the 6-yard line, so no touchdown there. Indiana later finds itself at a 1st and goal at the 6. Kalen Block inside the 5. Kalen Block, 1-yard line. Then Miami calls a timeout. They had 12 men on the field. They had to call timeout. Otherwise, they would have been penalized. And that was where Indiana took Riley Nowakowski, their tight end. It's a former fullback at Wisconsin, by the way. Put him in the backfield, and he powers his way through for a 1-yard touchdown. And now Indiana's up by double digits, 2 scores, 10-0. We got 6 minutes to go in the second quarter. Wrapped up a 14-play, 85-yard drive, chewed up almost 7 minutes of time. It was a thing of beauty. So at this point, with Indiana up 10-0, Indiana has run 15 plays on that drive. That was a 14-play drive to score. Miami all night only had 14 plays. So Indiana did on that drive what Miami has been able to do the entire night at this point. They do get the ball. Miami does. And there was a play that Fletcher took it to the right side, and it looked like he was gone. But Isaiah Jones was falling and twisting and kind of did a little leg whip. I thought he might be called for tripping, but they said, no, that was incidental leg, and it stuffed him. I think it saved Indiana's defense on that one play. I thought Fletcher might have been gone. There was the 3rd and 1. Fletcher got stuffed for 0 yards. 3rd down, 0 third down conversions at this point for Miami. And again, they couldn't convert on 3rd down all night. I mean, they did later, but I mean, it was tough sledding for them. At this point, it's 4th and 1, and Miami makes the first gutsy call of the day because they're on their own 36-yard line. They don't want to give the ball back to Indiana. They stay on the field. They go for it. Fletcher runs, and he barely gets the first down. He got it, but man, you talk about a game of inches. So Miami stays alive. Had Indiana stuffed them, they would have got the ball in Miami territory and been a scoring threat again. Instead, they get the 4th down just by an inch, keep the drive alive, and then, boom, Carson Beck to C.J. Daniels to the IU 40-yard line, a 25-yard play for a first down. It was a play of the night at this point. We're down to the 2-minute timeout already in the first half. 3rd and 8, quick pass for 6 yards. Now it's 4th and 2. They decide, all right, we're going to go for a field goal here. So Carter Davis goes out. It's going to be a 50-yarder for Miami. They want to just get on the scoreboard. They'll be within 7, close to halftime. And he had the distance, but he hit the upright. Clang, no good. We're still at 10-0 at this point. So a little bit of air out of the balloon for Miami. Indiana gets the ball with 33 seconds to go. They let some clock run. They had a couple of timeouts, and they ended up at midfield after a couple of plays. They ended up just throwing a Hail Mary. I think they could have managed the clock a little better, or there was confusion about starting a play clock, something. I thought they would get one more play and get a shot and maybe a long field goal, but instead they're too far back and they got to do a Hail Mary at the end of the half. It's no good. They go in the locker room 10-0 with the lead and knowing that they're going to get the ball back in the third quarter. At this point, though, Indiana 169 yards, Miami 69 yards. Indiana dominating at 18 minutes of time of possession. Mark Fletcher has been held to just 26 yards rushing for Miami. Carson Beck is just 6 of 10 for 49 yards, not a factor passing. Meanwhile, Fernando Mendoza for Indiana at the half, 12 of 17 for 116 yards. Kalen Black at 43 yards on 7 carries. Roman Hemby, again, just pounding into the line, 9 carries, 7 yards. It could not get anything going. Also, keep in mind, now as we go to the second half, Indiana will get the ball, but also Miami would get a player back. Xavier Lucas, who was called for targeting and kicked out of the Ole Miss semifinal game, was allowed to come back into the second half. And Miami completely changed the way they covered Indiana. They were in the first half, they were giving the receivers plenty of room. Indiana could nickel and dime them a little bit. In the second half, they played up close. And really, Indiana shut down Indiana in the third quarter. So I want to talk about that, the second half. I want to get to your live comments, all of that, as well as we continue with this live podcast here on a Monday night going into a Tuesday morning. Be sure to hit that free subscribe button down below so you never miss a single episode. And if you could share, follow, and like Lockdown Big Ten, that would be great as well. And don't forget, you can check out our website, talkbig10.com. We put all of our podcasts there. If you're new, you can go there and check out check out yesterday's, the day before for a second listen. Also, you can click on your school link. You can click on the Indiana link, and it'll take you right to an Indiana store. National championship merchandise right there with your shirts and your hats and your hoodies and all that right there. You can check it out at our website, talkbig10.com, and get yourself all that brand new Big Ten merchandise. All right. We'll get to the second half, wind down the game. I'll get to your live comments as well. All that is coming up in 1 minute as we continue our live edition post-game reaction of the national championship with Indiana and Miami in 1 minute. Well, there was nothing like this past college football season, particularly if you were an Indiana fan or graduate like me. The tailgates were exciting, the packed stadiums, the energy, and if you got an opportunity to go to a game, you got to feel it live. If you ever want a ticket to a game, football game, basketball game, concerts, comedy shows, download the Game Time app, and then they'll get you tickets to anything. Absolutely. I'm sure a lot of you were on that Game Time app watching prices and waiting for your moment to get the tickets for the national championship down there in Miami. You open up the Game Time app. It's very easy. It's laid out. It's very easy to see. Plus, you can see the view of the seat of the ticket you're about to buy. They have zone deals and all pricing right up front. No surprises at checkout. You can take the guesswork out of buying now college basketball tickets, concerts, anything with Game Time. Download the Game Time app. Don't forget NFL playoffs. You can go. Game Time. Download the Game Time app. Create an account. Use the code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, that's code LOCKEDONCollege, LOCKEDONCOLLEGE for $20 off. Download the Game Time app today. Thanks for checking us out here on Locked On Big Ten. We are live post-game reaction. Indiana, the national champions in football, beating Miami tonight and finishing the season 16-0. All right, we're analyzing and going through this game here, and I'm going to get to your live comments as well in just a few moments here. But we set it up, Indiana up 10-0 at the half. They didn't get anything going with that Hail Mary at the end of the half. Miami had missed the field goal at the end of the half. And as I mentioned, now Miami's defense pulling a little closer to the line of scrimmage with their corners and getting some pressure up front. Indiana gets the ball first. Mendoza just kept getting sacked every time he went. I think the first time, 3 times he went back to throw, he got sacked 3 times. So that wasn't any good. And no cushion to throw to. And there was the third down and 17. Kalen Block gets stuffed. But you can always count on Miami to make a key penalty. Got a face mask, 15 yards, and personal foul, first down. So now Indiana first down to the 38-yard line. But then they get another 3rd and long, which Indiana wasn't in 3rd and long all season. That was the secret to their success. They had the best 3rd down conversion rate in the country this year because they're always in 3rd and short. They take care of their business on 1st and 2nd down. That wasn't the case tonight. The Miami defense was pretty good. And so 3rd and 9, Mendoza gets sacked, and they got a punt. So you could feel it right now. There's a momentum shift, right? Miami started to have some success at the end of the first half. Now the defense stops Indiana, and they get the ball. Malachi Toney, 18-yard punt return to the 38, and then boom, Mark Fletcher gone. Just gone 57 yards down the right side. So 2 plays into the second half for Miami's offense. They're on the scoreboard. It's a 3-point game. It's 10-7 with 4 minutes into the second half. And now Indiana, again, their offense was struggling in the third quarter. Roman Hemby, outside stretch play, though, for 15 yards. Remember, he kept banging it up the middle with no success. Now he goes out to the outside, gets 15 yards, right? But then on 3rd and 3, the short pass to Elijah Surratt, he drops it, a rare drop. And again, he was being mugged, a handsy defender on him all the time, but it was a ball he catches 10 times out of 10 this year. So Indiana's got a punt again. So Miami's just drawn within the 3. They got the big touchdown with a home run by Mark Fletcher for 57 yards. The defense comes out. They hold Indiana to 3 and out. They got a punt. All the momentum is shifted to Miami at this point. So they get the ball. They're on their own 11-yard line after the punt. Now Fletcher gets stuffed. Then there was an incomplete pass by Miami, and then 3rd and 9. Keep in mind at this point, Miami is 0 for 6 on 3rd down conversions. They throw an incomplete pass over the middle, 3 and out, and they got a punt from their own end zone. So Indiana stops bleeding a little bit here. So, and they got great field position. They're on their own 43-yard line, but then Mendoza gets sacked again because the Miami defense was incredible at this point. It's 2nd and 18. Kalen Block gets 6 yards. Surratt has another drop on 3rd down. Again, Frederick was very handsy. But they got a punt. It's a 54-yard punt down to the Miami 5-yard line. It returned to the 7-yard line. Fletcher goes for 3. Then there's a pass breakup by Isaiah Jones. 3rd and 7, a short pass, too short. Indiana's defense, they sniffed out that play to Tony. Boom. And so now Miami's got a block. And this was probably, if you could say there were 2 plays of the game, this was the first one. All right. Miami punting near its goal line. Indiana blocks it. Mikail Kamara blocks it. Isaiah Jones jumps it on the end zone. And touchdown, Indiana. They're up 17-7. By the way, their extra point bounced in, hit the upright and bounced in. So 5 minutes to go in the 3rd quarter. All the momentum now that Indiana couldn't find in the second half, they got it. Indiana's got the second half momentum up 17-7 at this point. But this is where it's almost like that block punt and touchdown by Indiana. It woke Miami up, didn't it? It absolutely woke them up. So Fletcher runs for 1st down. I will say the next pass play, D'Angelo Pons is going to the NFL, even though it was like 5'7" and weighs $170 for Indiana. Textbook dislodging of the ball with a shoulder-to-shoulder hit on Alex Bauman, the tight end. So now there's a 3rd and 6. There's a scramble, and C.J. Daniels makes a catch, and they get 26 yards on it. It was a great play by Miami to keep things going, and end up moving the chains when it looked really bad. So they got it's their first 3rd down conversion of the night. Here we are in the middle of the 3rd quarter. Then Malachi Toney, he's got the catch and the run for 22 yards. Another 1st down to the 12-yard line. So now all of a sudden Miami is getting a lot of momentum at this point. And again, I kept saying to myself, it feels like that the block punt actually woke them up a little bit, and they were getting rolling here. And so Fletcher gets to the 3-yard line. They're in the red zone. Now remember, Indiana is number 1 in red zone defense all year. They don't give up touchdowns, but we end the 3rd quarter at this point, and we flip sides. We go to the 4th quarter, 3rd and 1, 3-yard line. Mark Fletcher scores, and now Miami is within 3, and it's 17-14, 10-play, 81-yard drive. Took 5 minutes. It was pretty impressive by the Hurricanes to get right back into this thing. And now this is anybody's ball game. Absolutely anybody's ball game. So what are we going to do? Who's going to step up at this point? A lot of questions. Indiana at this point had the 3 pass attempts, 3 sacks. Nothing's really going. So they keep trying to stick to the running game. Instead of Hemby, they go to Kalen Black for 2 yards. Then Kalen Black for 13 yards. Then Mendoza throws an incomplete pass. That was almost a pick 6 right in front of Omar Cooper. But then Mendoza finds Omar Cooper for 18 yards and a 1st down. It was his first completion of the half. It was badly needed by the Hoosiers. There was the 3rd and 5, the deep ball for Cooper. No flag. The back of his nameplate was grabbed. Where was the pass interference? Where was the defensive holding? I didn't think the officials did a good job here tonight. So now it's 4th and 5 at the Miami 37-yard line because of that play. And Indiana decides to go for it. And Mendoza finds Charlie Becker again, back shoulder ball, and they get the 1st down, 19 yards. That same play I was talking about earlier that they did. They did it again. They're down to the Miami 18-yard line. Now it's 3rd and 5 at the 13. Incomplete pass. Looked like another hold. but nothing called. So Indiana, 4th and 5 now from the 12.5, 13-yard line. It looked like Indiana was just going to take the 3 and kick the field goal. Play clock was winding down. Curt Cignetti calls a timeout, and he sends the offense back out there. And Mendoza, now here's the deal. Mendoza's good for running a draw play, first down about 2 times a game. The kid can run. Hadn't done any of that tonight, but they call it here. And he gets a 12-yard run. They blocked it up differently than they normally do, so they fooled Miami. And a gutsy call by Cignetti and a gutsy run by Mendoza, who took 2 hits. The first hit to twist him, and then the second one when he reached out across the goal line, got hit in the back. I would have fumbled both times on that. He held onto the ball, goes in there for the touchdown, and now Indiana is up 24-14 with 9 minutes to go. A 12-play, 75-yard drive with 5.5 minutes to go. The hits were just violent, and he was able to hang on to the ball. But we're not done yet. So on the kick return, Miami has a holding. Half the distance to the goal to go back, starting this drive at the 8-yard line. Malachi Toney, 9-yard catch. D'Angelo Pons defending Marion on a pass play. It was that was NFL level stuff. If not, they would have had a big catch there. Ball touches the ground, incomplete. So now it's 3rd and 10 from the Miami 20. There's a 5-yard false start. Now it's 3rd and 15 from the 15. But then Alex Bauman, the tight end, had an amazing 22-yard catch, first down. Malachi Toney, 41 yards to the IU 22-yard line. Malachi Toney, 22-yard out of the backfield for a touchdown. So 3 plays, 22 yards, 41 yards, 22 yards, and just like that. 8 plays, 91 yards, 2.5 minutes. Miami is within 3. It's a 24-21 ball game. We still got 6.5 minutes to go. So Indiana gets the ball here. Now, Indiana's been battle-tested. They had tough games. They won't wilt under pressure. They had tough games against Iowa. They had a tough game against Ohio State. I mean, they haven't had any tough games lately because they blew out Oregon by 34. They blew out Alabama by 35. But they have been battle-tested at the Penn State game. So they know how to handle these pressure situations. So their main key here is, hey, let's burn as much clock as possible. Oh, and it'd be ideal if we could score again, right? So they do a couple of runs. They burn a minute and a half at that point. It's 3rd and 4. There's the throw to Omar Cooper for 15 yards for a first down. Miami messed up their coverage on that play. Down to the 42-yard line. Indiana had 3 receivers on the left side. Miami had 2 people covering in the area. So Mendoza found Cooper for the first down. Then Nowakowski runs the ball for a loss of a couple of yards. Now we're back to 3rd and 7 again. 3rd and long. Well, what's the one thing that's worked for Indiana tonight? The back shoulder throw from Mendoza to Becker. And they do it again. First down at the 32-yard line. New set of downs. We're burning clock. Hemby to the right side for 10 yards for another first down. By the way, Omar Cooper, the wide receiver, came in and hemmed everybody. Had a beautiful block on that. We're down to the 2-minute timeout. We come out of it. Hemby for 9. This thing is all but a wrap. But then what happened? Indiana, the 5th least penalized team in America, the left tackle moves before the snap. 5-yard penalty. Clock stops at 1:56. Cignetti can't believe it. Now it's a 2nd and 6 instead of 1 yard to go. Hemby gets 1 yard. Then it's 3rd and 5. And Miami has 1 timeout left at this point. And Kalon Black gets stuffed. Boom. Miami timeout. Indiana's drive stops. They got to settle for the 35-yard field goal by Nico Radicic. It's an 11-play drive. It burned almost 5 minutes, but not enough. So Indiana's up by 6. There's still a minute 42 to go. Hanging on to a 27-21 lead. Just a little more than a minute and a half. And Indiana's that close to their national championship. So Miami gets the ball, and they got to delay a game right from the get-go. So instead of starting at their 25, they start at the 20. They throw an incompletion to avoid a sack. Now it's 2nd down, incomplete pass. But Landino gets in there and hits Carson back, roughing the passer. It's an automatic first down. So that penalty, and of course the penalty on the previous offensive drive by the Hoosiers, has given Miami life. Now it's nail-biting time. 1st and 10 at the 35. There's an 11-yard completion by Carson Beck. Throws a pass, first down. Malachi Tony gets a catch, second down, second and 3. CJ Daniels, a catch, first down, 51 seconds to go. Cignetti's like, we're giving up we're giving up the nickel and diming us here. We got to call timeout. So he calls his final timeout. Miami's got the ball at the Indiana 41-yard line. So I'm telling you, Cignetti knows how to push the buttons at the right time. He knows this team. Give them a break. Give the defense a break for a second. We come out of the timeout. Carson Beck goes back to throw. They go deep. They go for the home run shot. Jamari Sharp for the Hoosiers, a kid that grew up in Miami, makes an interception. Game over. Indiana is going to be a national champion. 27-21, your final score, 16-0, and the Big Ten wins 3 straight national championships. Absolutely unbelievable. And again, as an Indiana grad, I just absolutely love it. As a Big Ten fan, I absolutely love it. Now we got hundreds of live comments here on this live podcast on a Monday night going into Tuesday morning. So I want to see what everybody's got to say. I'll get to us. I can't get to them all. I'll try to as well. Steve says every second counted in that game. It sure did. USC Beast Mode says much respect to Indiana. USC Beast Mode also saying Big Ten rules. Yes, it does. Here's some more Go Big Ten 3 years straight. G Cube says, Craig, congratulations. I know it means a lot as an Indiana alum. Yes, it does. Not a basketball school anymore. Football. Big Ten is the standard for college football. And more, talking about 3 straight national championships for the Big Ten. Scott says it was the greatest turnaround in college football history. Absolutely. So Cignetti's been there for 2 years. He's now, with this win, 27-2. They were 3-9 the year before when he took over. This is incredible. And I made this point on a podcast I did earlier this week. All the changes in college football are the reason that, Nick Saban got out at Alabama, perhaps the greatest coach of all time. Didn't want to deal with name, image, and likeness. Didn't want to deal with transfer portal. Didn't want to deal with all that. And while he didn't want to and got out of it, Curt Cignetti has it dialed in, doing it better than anybody right now. He's got it figured out. So let's see here. Michael says, this win hurts so good. That is a Hoosier John Mellencamp reference. Get it? I see what you're doing there. And let's see here. Carla Jenkins, she's a Buckeye fan, checking in tonight. Good to see you there, Carla. Stray Golden says, I think this proves the times of who the top conference is. Times have changed. Yes. Midwest football rules from John. Let's see here. Don says the Ducks will check out early next year like they did this year. Why are we taking a shot at the Ducks? We like the Ducks. Cody says it's the Sig 10 now, not the Big Ten. You got that right. You can do Indiana, Sig Natty for the national championship, all kinds of stuff. John also says tri-state champs, Michigan, Ohio State, and Indiana. Kind of like that, right? Scott also says, who is Indiana's quarterback next year, as Heisman Trophy winner Fernando Mendoza is leaving he'll be the number 1 pick of the NFL draft. Indiana has just signed TCU transfer Josh Hoover. So those of you that are used to the Hoosier chant that you saw Curt Cignetti do from the championship stage tonight, get ready for the Hoover chants at quarterback. He's a very good quarterback. Indiana has the best transfer portal class in America this year. They're not going away. This is going to be the way things are for a while. In fact, USC Beast Mode saying Indiana is the new Alabama as long as that coach stays there. You might be right about that. Let's see here. No one in the right mind imagined Indiana winning a natty in football. That from Scott. You're right about that. Michael says party at Lake Monroe. Lake Monroe is down there in Bloomington, Indiana. You're right. Probably, actually, the kids are running down Kirkwood Avenue right now and heading on down to Showalter Fountain. That's where they celebrate championships. There were like 17,000 people in the basketball stadium tonight watching that game on a giant screen. That was pretty cool. So here's another Michael saying, as a Boise State fan from Northeast Ohio, I love seeing Indiana win the natty. Go State says, congrats, Craig from Sparty. Thank you. And your Michigan State basketball team looks awesome this year. In Kanu says, congrats, Indiana. And a lot more congratulations for the Hoosiers here on the text line. I could go all night with this. Why stay? He will be the number one pick. Yeah, Mendoza's going pro. He's not staying. He does have another year of eligibility, but he's leaving. Let's see here. Gary says the Big Ten could go into any other conference's territory and win a championship, and none of them can come to Big Ten country and win a natty. Yeah, you might be right. Absolutely. All right, man, what a great episode we've had here so far. We're not done. Got some final thoughts about what is going to happen next with Indiana, and also some news regarding the Big Ten and the college football playoff. All that is coming up in just 1 minute as we are live on a Monday night, Tuesday morning, live post-game reaction to the national championship, where the Indiana Hoosiers are the champions of college football here on Locked On Big Ten. Thanks for checking us out here on Locked On Big Ten Live. I'm going to tell you how you could join our Everydayers Club in just a moment. If you are new, we're here every day. We cover all 18 teams with news, analysis of the news, opinion of the news. That in and of itself makes us a unique podcast. But we also have features every day. On Mondays, we do my top 10 Big Ten observations from the weekend. Tuesdays, we do Tuesday tweets. Follow us on Twitter at Talk Big Ten or X. We do that on Tuesdays, kind of like a mailbag segment, if you will. Wednesdays, we do my power rankings. Thursdays, we look at the Big Ten Network for the weekend with Big Ten Classics and the live action. And we always make picks on Friday, what pigskin picks, now a lot of basketball picks coming up. We do that. Again, add those to the things we already do. It makes us the most unique podcast out there. We're video on YouTube, also audio, Spotify, Apple, wherever you are, we're there every day. Some things we're going to be covering this week, in addition to all 18 teams, more football news, and what's next for Indiana. And I just mentioned their new quarterback coming in and their recruiting class. Spring football will be here before you know it. We'll jump into basketball as well. So far, Nebraska has been remarkable. Purdue, Michigan State. It's the Big Ten season is already off to a great start, and we'll be jumping all over that as well. So this Friday is the new deadline that the Big Ten and the SEC have set, because the Big Ten and the SEC are the ones that are going to decide the college football playoff format moving forward. We're going to stick with the 12 teams. We're going to go to 14. We're going to go to 16. The Big Ten and the SEC, they're the ones in control of all of that, and they got to come up with an agreement. And the Big Ten and the SEC can't agree amongst themselves what to do. And in fact, the Big Ten says, well, we'll go to 16 as long as we go to 24 in 3 years. Well, I mean, come on, it's too much. In my opinion, is the more we expand the playoffs, the more we water them down. So we'll jump on that. We got that story brewing this week, in addition to the football news and the basketball that's going on. Also, I want to tell you about our Everydayer Club. You guys that join us each and every day, making Locked On Big Ten your first listen every day, and Locked On, the #1 sports podcast network. Don't forget now, you Everydayers, you could take it up another level and go ad-free by joining the Everydayer Club. That's right. You get Locked On Big Ten with no interruptions, members-only Discord. I jumped on the Discord at halftime today. I was in there making comments today. You could join us for all that, plus access to other podcasts as well. It's just $5 a month, $50 a year. Just go to lockedonbig10.supercast.com, and you can check out the show link after this for more details there. In addition to that, we always ask you to subscribe. That part's always free. No matter what, we'll be here every day. Subscribe for free, share, follow, and like. That also helps us out as well. Thank you so much for joining us here. Congratulations to Curt Cignetti, Fernando Mendoza, and the Indiana Hoosiers and us alum. We're very proud here tonight. And thank you for joining us. We'll be here each and every day with all things Big Ten for Locked On Big Ten Live, our post-game reaction. I'm Craig Shemon. Thanks for joining us. We'll talk to you next time.